All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Thursday, November 21st. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat Clayton. So we got a huge weekend coming up. We got GLICKED. This is GLICKED weekend, maybe the biggest weekend we've had since Barbenheimer. This is going to be gigantic. So we brought in a special guest who this guy, he knows movies. He knows podcasting. He knows music. He is a good buddy of ours. We've been on his show many times. The McCaw Podcast Universe, where he tackles different franchises. We've been on there. And he's a musician. He's got a concert film. My God, very special guest, Micah McCaw. Thanks for joining us for this huge BO Boys episode.
You're so welcome. Cannot wait to talk about all these splendid movies, especially Sly Stallone's Armor. Coming
Slice.
out day and date, of course. The
So,
perfect release.
so this is Glick Armored Weekend. Sly Stallone,
Click Armurator.
Glick Armurated. The Tulsa King is back to take over the box office. Will he be number one? I don't know. We'll see where this episode goes. Maybe in the end, we all predict Sly is going to be number one. Before we get into the weekend predictions for Wicked, for Gladiator, for Armor, quickly, Micah, you have a concert film. Tell the wannabe
Yes.
boys, wannabe girls, wannabe people
People.
where they could find this concert film.
Yes, so I have a concert film. It's called Go Fire Yourself, and it is out now. And guess what? I'm not, well, I'm not doing my version of day and date because guess what? This is like a box office. This is behind the sweet, sweet paywall.
Wow.
So you got to go. I mean, the BO boys, they have it in their inbox because they're the BO boys. But,
Yes, of course.
the BO people, it's
People.
yeah.
People got to pay for it, and I want them to pay for it, and they want to pay for it.
Yes.
That's the key. Our audience respects box office so much. They don't want any free stuff. They want to pay for everything. So, again, the name of your concert film in this project?
Yeah, so it's Go Fire Yourself. It is the 10-year anniversary of my first album. We played in front of a crowd. We got 6 musicians together. Think Stop Making Sense-esque. I mean, kind of inspired by a little bit, but with a $350 budget. Think that. And not in a bad way.
$250 million budget?
Little under that. Little
under that.
Take out,
Okay.
3 of those zeros, and you got yourself a budget.
Gotcha.
But I'm really proud of it. But the album is also streaming everywhere. So if you are like, I just don't know, I don't even know who this guy is, go listen to the album and then go, well, let's go watch the movie. And you go to micahmccaw.bandcamp.com, you buy the movie, you enjoy the movie, and or you just stream it. And everybody must stream it who listens to this, of course. I mean,
of course.
hopefully we'll get the Kirk Minahan bump. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I mean, listen, we had, of course, we've had author friends on here before. We had our friend Josh, who wrote Letters to the Purple Satin Killer. He was on the show. Next day, gigantic spike. He showed us the graph. He showed us the charts. Huge spike in book sales. You're going to see the huge spike. You're going to see that BO bump. So get ready for it. All I hope is that your servers are prepared for what's coming. That's all I hope.
They're prepared. Bandcamp and Spotify are ready for you.
Okay.
Do your worst.
All right. Well, here we go. So let's, though, get into it now. You're talking music. You're talking concert film. I think we got to start off with the big musical that's coming out this weekend. You know, if GLICKED is Barbenheimer, Wicked is Barbie. So, Clayton, I'm gonna start with you here. Is Wicked Barbie? Are you feeling the Barbie mania level hype and passion for Wicked coming out this Friday?
I mean, I'll tell you what, the hype is there for
Okay.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're asking, is the hype there? The hype is there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hard time figuring out what is hype. Tweets aren't ticks, as we always say.
Yep.
You throw in all this Oscar talk about Wicked as if it's going to be a Titanic. There's so much hype. So whoever's out there pumping hype onto the internet is doing a great job. But at the end of the day, that's not going to necessarily sell tickets. Although I do think, we had Kirk on our live show, our Boston live show, at the end of the tour, and he went very high on this one. He went over
I think,
200.
200. Yeah.
Whoa. Well,
Yes.
that's far above Barbie.
Yeah.
162.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I mean, it's hard not to want to go there just because of the fact that all the reasons we mentioned before. I mean, Wizard of Oz is one of the most famous movies, one of the most decorated, celebrated movies of all time.
Right.
Everybody has seen Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Everybody.
Right.
And this is a take on that. And you mentioned in the live show that even the James Franco Oz movie did really well.
Yes.
Now, this was this was pre finding out about the sex classes. He was doing the sex classes at the time.
Right.
But this
but
was
no one
pre
knew.
the fallout of all his bad intentions.
Right.
And
right.
And even that movie did boff a bubble. Obviously, it didn't open to 200, but I mean, there is an appetite for Oz material.
Yes. I mean, the HBO series Oz ran for, I think, 5 or 6 seasons. And, you know, I know that's TV. It's not box office numbers. They never did get
it's
to
not
do
TV.
It's HBO.
It's HBO.
Yes. But, and they never did get to do the theatrical, 6 seasons in a movie. And we never got the Oz movie. So we don't know exactly what that movie would have done at the box office. But with the Oz branding, it probably would have done pretty well. That's how big this Oz branding, and I'm looking at Oz the Great and Powerful did 200, and I just wanted to quickly 258 million domestic, 234 million domestic, and that is again a James Franco Oz star, and that did Bafa Bobo. That's huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what I was going to say about Oz the TV show is if they remaster that show and make Christopher Maloney green, I mean, who knows? I mean, that's huge.
That's huge. That's huge. So
just don't cover his eyes.
This movie, I mean, we haven't really even mentioned the musical factor, the Broadway musical. This show opened, I think, like 2003 and has been massive, nonstop ever since. It's still on Broadway. It's one of those shows that tours everywhere. Every city in America has had their rinky-dink version of Wicked. Micah, can you remind me, what great city are you in?
I am in the great, tiny little city of Medford, Oregon. I'm over here on the Pacific Northwest, very south of Portland. We don't even have an AMC over here. We just have a Cinemark. So we do not have the A-lister card. It's sometimes a little bit rough and sad, but we do okay. We do okay.
Do you have to drive up a mountain, to get to your Cinemark? What is your journey to get to the Cinemark? How many jungles do you have to traverse? How many rivers do you have to swim through?
It's one creek, and you're there. I mean, it's just
creeks
right
are dangerous.
There.
Creeks can be very dangerous.
Creeks are very dangerous. A lot of debris, lots of shopping carts. You have to be careful.
Yeah, anyone who's seen Wolf Creek in the early 2000s, they know how dangerous a creek could be. Wicked, did Wicked ever come to your town in Oregon? Have you seen a rinky-dink production of Wicked?
We do have a nice little theater. Actually, we have the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, which is like world renowned in Ashland, Oregon. So
have they ever done Wicked?
So I would imagine they have. I couldn't tell you. Gun to my head, I got no idea. I'm not much of a musical theater guy. I'm not anti though.
Right.
West Side Story a couple years ago, that was one of my faves of the year. Steven Spielberg, of course. But
so Clayton, musical, and there has been, there's been a weird relationship with movie theaters, movies, and musicals the last few years. There's been these secret musicals. There's been, Mean Girls, the musical was successful, but they hid it from everyone that it would be a musical. They put the little note in the poster, but otherwise didn't let people know that it would be a musical. Is the fact that this is a cinematic musical a hindrance, or is it helpful right now?
Well, you forgot to mention Joker Folia Doo-Doo.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the big one. That's the one that really tarnishes the brand of cinematic musicals right now. Does Wicked have any negative fallout from Joker Folly Doo Doo, what they did to Gaga, and could people be saying not again, not again? I will not go see another musical in the theaters after Folly Doo Doo.
I think the fact that this was a musical on Broadway and it's well known as being a musical, people will go in knowing it's a musical and expecting and wanting a musical. I
Right.
think this is an example of they don't want it until they want it. And they didn't really want Mean Girls all that much because the book was pretty bad. Those songs weren't very good. And Joker, Folia Doo Doo, it was all just public domain songs,
Right.
because the budget definitely didn't go to buying music rights.
Right. Right.
So I think that the fact that this is a musical and a musical people are excited for is going to benefit it. The other thing is you got Cynthia Erivo, who is somebody who has done so many musicals.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Ariana Grande, who is the X factor here, because she has such a rabid fan base. We had a gentleman on here who was a rabid Gaga fan.
Yes.
And this gentleman, of course, famously was at IFC Center yelling at the ticket taker because they didn't show the trailer for Joker Folia Doo Doo.
Yes.
Imagine him times 1,000. That's these Ariana Grande fans. They are sickos. They are genuine sickos. Like, you talk about Little Monsters for Lady Gaga, like that's nothing compared to these people.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say it, having witnessed what we witnessed this past month, but especially this past weekend on tour. We witnessed rabid fan bases, our own. And, it could be scary. It could be delightful when you have that kind of fandom hitting you in the face. And in the end, we survived. And this past show in Boston, we were there, Kirk Minahan on stage. There were Wannabe O Boys, Wannabe O Girls, Wannabe O People, and Minifans. Yeah. And we saw what it's like, because Kirk has that Ariana Grande-esque fan base. Not the same demos, but the same fervor. And, that was in a comedy club. Now you're going to have that level of fan base just at every AMC, every theater in America. Will that fan base, they'll come out, but do you think that could be a turnoff for Joe Lunchpail, Susie Crocheter, who just are like, I don't know if I could deal with that level of fervor, of fanaticism. Like Micah, will you cross the creek to see Wicked, or do you feel like you might be scared that all these Ariana Grande fans are gonna be out of control?
I mean, here's what I would say about Wicked. I kind of don't think there's anything that can deter this, except for the cartoonness of it. But they have kept that quiet. Nobody, they've removed that from the marketing months ago. It's not a thing anymore. So this opening weekend will not be affected. The next weekend, I don't know. Maybe that will turn people off.
Right.
But as of now, I don't see anything standing in the way of this. And the people dressing up, the theater geeks and all that jazz, it's just going to make, it's like when I was seeing people as Beetlejuice walking around. You're going, I want to see that. I mean, I was already there, of course.
Right.
But
you want to see the freaks almost as much as you want to see the movie. And I say freaks in a good way. We love freaks. Freaks draw money. And so they could be a draw. I mean, Clayton, though, I will say, I was reading an article about this movie, and I saw the great Richard Roper tweeted this out, that there are Wicked fans who are going into this weekend basically warning people in interviews that they will be singing along in the movie. And these are not designated sing-along shows. These are not midnight Rocky Horror Picture-esque shows. These are, hey, we go to the 7 p.m. show, we are going to sing, and we're going to sing loud the entire movie. So is that a draw? Is that something that could be a problem for the box office weekend. People hearing that, they follow Richard Roper on Twitter X. They see that these fans are saying this. Maybe they're saying, I don't know if I could deal with that. Would you be, Clayton, put off by going to a Wicked showing and all these fans are singing at the top of their lungs?
Well, I think theaters are actually putting up signs, hand-printed signs that say, do not say, like, this is not a sing-along, do not sing along.
Wow.
I think there's an expectation at certain films that there's going to be a certain type of behavior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think there's a lot of, complaining about the theatrical experience and how people are rude and all these things. I think singing along, it's such an exuberant sort of way to interact with a film that I wouldn't be upset. I would sort of know going in that these people are fervently loving this thing. I mean, there's people who go to concerts and get mad at the people who sing along with the musical group, and it's like, well, what do you want? What do you want? Just sit politely, stand politely, whatnot. Right. So I think it's a communal experience, and you get those things at a communal experience. Now, if somebody's at Dune Part 2 and they're making up songs to the sound, to the instrumental soundtrack,
right,
then I take umbrage. I take umbrage to that,
right.
Like a Tom Green-esque sort of prank I would look down upon. But I mean, these are songs people love, and at least they're coming out and they're saying, this is what I'm going to do. Right. They're calling their shot.
Right. And it gives the rest of the audience, they've got some work to do. Learn these songs before Friday. Maybe that is how we should be looking at, not how these fans of the musical are wrong for singing, but everyone else learn these songs. You got another day. This episode drops. It'll be Thursday morning. Previews are tonight. Get on Spotify and listen to these songs and know them going in.
But sandwich it with Go Fire Yourself, right?
Of course. Know those songs
Wicked,
too. Yes.
Make Wicked the meat, but make the bread Go Fire Yourself.
Yes. And you know what? When they're not singing in Wicked, because there is dialogue in this, it's not just wall to wall singing.
Yeah.
Sing Go Fire Yourself songs in between.
I love it.
Make it a party. Make it a party. This is going to be a party atmosphere. And guys, the more we talk about it, the more I'm feeling Barbie opening weekend. That's what Barbie was. Everyone dressing in pink.
Yeah.
Everyone taking photos with the, the display in the lobby and going there drunk and high and bringing their Barbie dolls. It was a party. And this is really starting to feel like Barbie weekend. And the tie-ins. I mean, there's tie-ins up the wazoo. I saw there's a Betty Crocker Wicked tie-in. That's huge. To be able to make like a green cake, I'm assuming.
Get the crock? Come on.
Yeah.
I could only dream of getting a placement with Betty. So, yes. I mean,
that's... Next album,
Betty Crocker team up. I pray.
So, Clayton, are you feeling the Barbie-ness right now? Are you feeling this is such a big event? And that's what movies have to become to get to that level. It's feeling like that kind of event. People are singing. Yeah. People are dressing up. People want to see the freaks. That's part of a movie being huge. As you go to see the fans, you go to see the freaks. I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel the Barbie level.
Yeah, and I think, I think GLICKED is real. I think it's not a thing that people are... I mean, it is a thing people are fabricating, because that's what Barbenheimer was. Like, GLICKED is real. I think that Gladiator is going to get raised along with this movie. I think that, there's going to be a runoff situation with it. And I mean, this is going to be a great weekend. I mean, we're going into a section of box office that is going to be some huge, huge movies. And it's exciting for us as BO boys, because we've had our hits and we've had our, sort of misses. but this seems like it's gonna be a very packed and powerful box office at the holiday season at the box office, and that's so great.
Yeah, it's great for theaters. It's great for us. You
I,
know.
I mean, I anticipate you guys will be divvying in the next chunk of time because this is going to be a big one.
Yeah, I love it. That. God, Micah, thank you for guesting, and thank you honestly for producing future episodes here with that idea.
Yeah, no
Because
problem.
you go back to the Barbenheimer days. We divvied up the opening weekend of Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
And let's see, Clayton. Let's follow this GLICKED number. It may be worth an opening weekend divvying. We may have to divvy up GLICKED on the next episode. It's great idea. Yeah, but you know what? Will the other end of this Barbenheimer, will the other end of GLICKED hold up? Because I think we all feel like Wicked's going to be huge. The fan base is there for the musical, for Ariana Grande, and people are ready, and they're dressing up, and they're freaks. Will Gladiator hold up its end of the bargain here? That, I think, is the question mark. Now, we talked about this on the live show with Kirk, and he was bullish enough on this, right? I feel like he was thinking $50-60 million. I'd have to go back and listen to it, but around that ballpark. I mean, the estimates here are a range of 65 to 75 according to today's article on Box Office Pro. I mean, Clayton, we'll get to our official predictions, but that's definitely going up. Are you feeling an increased buzz for Gladiator?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think we got an email from someone who saw a free surprise preview of
Yes.
Gladiator 2, and said it's not going to be a Best Picture winner, probably won't be nominated, but it's going to have legs, is what this person is saying.
Wow.
I'm going to pull up the email.
Yes, I'm looking at this now. So this is from Wannabe Oh Boy, Craig from Canada. So we're getting to international, though it is North American, Clayton. So there you go. So it's
it counts as domestic box office.
Domestic. Yeah. So
you got so excited. You got so excited that it would be somebody from across the pond, and it's not.
Yeah, I was hoping from across.
There's
the
no
pond.
across the pond. It's across the falls.
But you know what? You still at this point, post 9/11, you got to have a passport to go to Canada. So I do like that. I'd still get my passport stamped to go to Canada. So yeah, let's say they Mystery Movie Monday. He said, I was certainly intrigued and decided to check it out. I was pleasantly surprised to see an early screening of Gladiator 2. Let me tell you, there is hype to this movie, despite not knowing what the movie was beforehand. Almost the entire crowd cheered and wooed when the title credits appeared on the screen. I mean, the thing is, I'm sure they were excited for Gladiator 2, but they also knew, God, it could have been Armor starring Sylvester Stallone. So they knew they were playing with, it could have went several ways. So I'm sure they were happy to see Gladiator. But then he continues, G2 won't win Best Picture like the original film, but once word of mouth gets around, this movie will have legs, capital legs. Wicked and G2 are going to be the Barbenheimer of winter. So there you go. Boots on the ground. Thank you, Craig from Canada, for that one. The crowd was cheering. Very, very exciting. This is a movie that's a sequel to a single film that came out, 20 years ago? Was Gladiator 2002, probably? Is this a movie that has endured? Has Gladiator won Best Picture, didn't get director, Russell Crowe won Best Actor. It managed, it definitely was a cable movie of the 2000s. Do you feel like this is an IP that has endured, that, young people have caught on to over the years? Micah, starting with you. Has Gladiator, Clayton, you've got some.
I was just going to say Gladiator's 2000.
2000. Yeah, I think I was speaking with a coworker who's, just a couple of years below me, but I've noticed there's a pretty big divide in movies there. And Gladiator's like the one movie that his dad always had on, kind of a thing. And I mean, I think it's endured. And I also think, I mean, when was the last time we had a straight up dad movie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Joker, no dad went and saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I maybe my memory's just faltering, but
It's in that Oppenheimer wheelhouse where Oppenheimer was its dad movie. Obviously, everyone went to see Oppenheimer. It was a sensation. But at its heart, World War II is a dad movie. And, you know, Roman Empire, that's dad movie stuff.
yeah.
So,
I mean, guess what? I have a toddler,
okay.
and guess which movie I have a ticket to on Saturday?
Is it G2?
Armor.
It's G2, baby.
G2.
Oh,
Dad. We got a dad right there.
It is dad galore over here.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta get into that early. I gotta get into being ready for those dad movies.
Yes.
Which is why I knew about Armor, because that's like your secondary dad movie. But when you have a dad movie this big coming out, Armor's got no chance. I know I jumped ahead. I'm sorry, but I got excited.
Yeah. Armor is more of a Godfather movie or an uncle movie.
Yeah.
I would say than a dad movie. It's a relative that you see once every 3 years, maybe only at weddings and funerals movie.
And they say, "Did you see that Armor? It was pretty good."
It was pretty good. And you say, "Okay, all right, Uncle Bob. Thanks for telling me about Armor." So this movie, of course, it's a sequel, but it doesn't have the original star. It doesn't have Russell Crowe. Now, Clayton, we talked with Kirk on stage. I think in the end, we all thought that most likely Russell Crowe will be in this movie. None of us have seen this. We haven't read spoilers. So as of this taping, we don't know one way or the other whether that's true. But we do think Russell Crowe will make an appearance, but he's obviously not an advertised star. It's Paul Mescal. So how much does that take away from the IP? The fact that the star of the only Gladiator movie is not in this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a disappointment there, although Russell Crowe has lost some of his luster, so it's not as if you had a Men in Black movie without a Will Smith,
right,
or a Independence Day 2 without Will Smith. So it's not like somebody who was still sort of at a a high level not returning. So I think it was more of a case of Russell Crowe wouldn't sell this movie. Like having him in it wouldn't sell this movie. I mean, I think, you're talking about Paul Mescal. You've got Denzel in this thing. I mean, and Denzel is a forever star.
Yep.
He's a butts in the seats guy. And I think he's more than enough to make up for the lack of a Russell Crowe in this. I really do. Because I think the same people who like Russell Crowe liked Denzel before they liked Russell Crowe, liked Denzel while they liked Russell Crowe, and like Denzel now that they don't know if they like Russell Crowe because he's not around enough.
Right.
Or dislike Russell Crowe.
Right. True. Right. So they basically, you've just switched to the still popular star of virtuosity, from one virtuosity star to the other, is what they did here. But Denzel is not playing the gladiator. I think is that, to me, that is the, if anything dings Gladiator 2 and its opening weekend, it's that they did go out and get a big star. They got a Denzel Washington, but he's not playing Gladiator. He's playing, I don't know, is he the Emperor? Or, he's playing the villain, it seems. But they didn't go and get a big star to play Gladiator. I mean, they didn't get Chalamet. Let's be honest. That would have been the guy. You get Chalamet as Gladiator, and you've got a big star. Mescal is a project. They want to make him a star, but he's definitely not a star. So, do you think that's an issue? If Denzel, or if they had just signed Denzel up to play the Gladiator, do you think that is a bigger sell?
But Pat, you're acting as if Russell Crowe was a star when he did Gladiator.
True.
I mean, Gladiator made him a star. This is a perfect. I think Hollywood's doing the right thing here, which is trying to mint another star with a vehicle that created a star 24 years ago.
True.
Right. I mean, I think that's the, I mean, I know you wanna, cast a star in this because we love to see stars, but you also got to make new stars.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you don't want to cast, Austin Butler's not cast in Elvis, then you don't have Austin Butler, the buzz on Austin Butler,
Right.
because like
Right.
if you would have cast, I don't know who's a guy that
Leo. If you had
Leo,
gotten Leo to play Elvis, yeah.
yeah, if you had Leo playing Elvis, I mean that's great. Elvis does Baffa Bobo, but it doesn't move movies and the star system forward.
Right. Right. Okay. So it's basically the studio is trying to create a star here, and I don't know if because this is what Universal is putting this movie out. Um. So, no, Gladiator is Paramount. Of course, Universal is Wicked. So Paramount, I hope they have Paul Mescal signed up for a couple of more pictures because they're using this IP to make him a star. So I would hope that means Paul Mescal now is going to headline a Sonic movie or,
Live action Beavis and Butthead.
yes, a live action Beavis and Butthead. That would be huge.
Pat, are you down on Paul Mescal? Like this, I feel like anytime we talk about him, I know he doesn't have a proven track record as a movie star, obviously because it's the catch-22. You have to, get chances to become a star. I just feel like negative energy towards him from you.
I, you know, listen, I root, of course, like we all do, for all movies to succeed, all movie stars to succeed. Um, I haven't seen it with him personally. He did the normal people streaming show, that Streamo. We're not even going to acknowledge that. He had the movie with him and his daughter, not his real life daughter, but his
After Sun, that's a
After
great
Sun.
movie, great
I
performance.
personally, and we're not critics, huh? Was
Huh?
not a fan of that movie. All of Us Strangers.
Oh,
I liked it.
oh,
I went in there expecting to be a weepy mess like you were for Dear Evan Hansen, and it did not get me.
yeah.
So I've yet to be blown away, and maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. By the time Russell Crowe did Gladiator, I know you said he isn't a star, but he had LA Confidential. He had, I think The Insider did come out the year before. To me, Russell Crowe was a much more on the precipice big star than I think Paul Mescal is now.
But it was a different
Different time.
time, right?
90s,
Because
yep.
the way you grow your popularity now is sort of these streamo TV shows. Like you can start there, just never go back. Like that's the thing, is like I think
Don't go
now
back.
the I'm not going to hold it against somebody for having to be in a streamo show to start out. But don't go back. Like if Paul Mescal, this movie's a huge hit, and we see him on some Apple Plus show in like 3 years. I know, disgusted.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what Tom Holland. Look at Tom Holland. Tom Holland, Spider-Man. He had Uncharted, which was a modest, pretty good hit,
Yeah, good hit.
and then then he's doing these Apple Plus shows. It's like
Yeah.
you can't do that. You gotta stay up. You gotta be a shark. You gotta be moving forward. You can't go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. No, listen, I want Paul Mescal to become a star. We need new movie stars. Hopefully this is the one that wows me. But you do feel, in everything I'm hearing about this movie, the advanced buzz and even the promotions and the Oscar buzz, it does seem like this is the Denzel show. So that's where, again, I go back to Denzel obviously seems to be the draw here. He seems to be what everyone is buzzing about. But the fact that he's not playing the Gladiator. But again, hey, listen, Oppenheimer, Downey was the one everyone was buzzing about and ahead of that movie. And he was basically playing a guy that you could have cut out of the movie and it would have been even better. So I guess you don't have to have the big star playing the guy for people to get excited.
Well, and if I can just say with Paul, I have to admit I haven't seen anything with him. I'm ashamed to admit it because
No, say it proudly.
because I meant to watch After Sun and I just never got around to it. But the guy's got an Oscar nom, so I
Yep.
mean that feels good. That's good. But for me, when they announced Gladiator 2, I'm thinking this is just Ridley trying to bounce back from Alien Covenant, because that's back when they announced it, and I'm thinking this is terrible. They play that trailer, I see Paul, I see him do the clap dust thing, and I think we're in good hands here. My ticket's sold. I went from I don't want to see this to tickets sold in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is like the foundation, and then we got this is this is like his what was the romantic comedy with Glenn Powell this year? I'm forgetting what it's called.
Oh, Anyone But You.
Anyone But You.
This is his Anyone But You.
And then he just has to follow it up with Twisters,
Yes. And listen, Twisters is another example of a sequel, a long in the waiting sequel to a movie, did very, very well. So people don't forget these IPs. People remember. They have long memory, especially for that time period, those 90s, early 2000s, back when movies played forever on cable, and they have that memory of them. So
Well, let's be frank. 2000 is the 90s.
2090s.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
I co-sign that.
Yeah, 2000 is the 90s. So Gladiator did come out in the 90s.
Yeah.
So
Spiritually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If if you go watch one of those CNN Tom Hanks, like decade by decade, they'd be out of their minds if they don't talk about Gladiator when they talk about the 90s. They got it. You got to talk about things that go up until early 2001. So yeah, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. It's going to be. Do you think that it will? Let's end the Gladiator talk on this. Does it get the GLICKED bump? I'm not hearing as much as I did during Barbenheimer about how are you going to see both of them. I think that's the thing that really propped up Oppenheimer was the stunt aspect of that weekend of people saying, I'm going to see both because it's a thing to do, and it'll be something I could boast about on my social media, which is great. I'm not seeing that with GLICKED, where people are like, I'm going to see the 1:00 Wicked and then go have dinner and see the 7:00 Gladiator. So Clayton, do you think it's going to get that bump? Is the GLICKED bump something that Gladiator is going to get the way Oppenheimer got?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be at the level of the Barbenheimer situation. I think, frankly, because Barbie is a comedy.
Okay.
And everybody knew it was a comedy, right? And as much as we say comedies don't do well at the box office, they do well when they're done in a way that's tied to either a really popular IP, right? Barbie, one of the most popular toys in the whole entire universe, or like, when you see something like Deadpool and Wolverine,
right, or Guardians.
I mean, yeah, those are comedies.
Right.
But they're couched in other sort of things. This is a musical.
Mm-hmm.
So a musical is a hard sell to somebody who doesn't like musicals. I think Barbie is an easier sell because you're like, oh, it's funny and it's got people I like in it. Mm-hmm. Where this is going to be, do you want to hear people sing or not? And by that, I mean the people on the screen and the people in the audience. So it will be, I mean, I could see the Gladiator 2 fans seeing it as a challenge to endure a screening of Wicked and enduring the singing and the Ariana Grande sickos as if they're modern day gladiators. And that is the sort of thing that they have to persevere through. So there's the scene where, Paul Mescal's character is fighting in the arena and he's fighting some sort of giant creature.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Looks like an ancient elephant.
Yeah. So to the Gladiator fans, them walking into a Wicked showing with all the singing and the Ariana Grande sickos, that is their ancient elephant.
Yes.
And so I think it might not work the other way, but I think definitely like if the Gladiator 2 fans challenge themselves to endure Wicked, that could add some box office to Wicked.
Wow. Wow.
For
So
sure.
you're almost predicting a reverse Barbenheimer in that Wicked is going to get a Gladiator bump. It's going to get these older dads who want to test their endurance, test their physicality. Can they endure Wicked?
I don't think it's going to be the dads. I think the dads will say, I'm going home. I think it's going to be the younger people.
Yeah. Yeah.
People.
This is also a great movie for those dads to drop their daughters off and then go down the hall and see Gladiator.
This is great counter programming.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so perfect. This is the perfect weekend for both movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got the holiday, we're basically, honestly, listen, and again, I'm talking as a coastal elite, white collar office worker situation. Friday afternoon, it's holiday time. No one's doing anything Monday, Tuesday. We're basing the holiday, obviously, down in the in the mines,
in the creek,
people working the creek, working the mines. They're working straight up until dinner time on Thanksgiving. So it's not really a holiday weekend for them. But I do think for a lot of people who live near multiplexes, this is almost like a holiday summer weekend coming up.
Yeah. And I think you have a great point, and let's not make this so strictly like down gender lines. I think this is like we were sort of saying, whatever kid wants to see Wicked, and whatever kid wants to see Gladiator 2, they can split off, right? So if it's girl, boy, person, whoever, they can choose which one they want, and the parent and or guardian can choose what they want.
Exactly.
So these configurations can be whatever they want them to be, but I think there's enough for everybody that is a great, we're going to the movies. The two things are Gladiator 2 and Wicked. The third thing, if everything's sold out, is Armored. And I don't know who would go see that, but
you bring the uncle. It's a family of 5.
You bring the uncle.
You got a mother, a father, a daughter, a son, whatever, and you got the uncle. So you got a parent and a kid go see Wicked, a parent and a kid go see Gladiator 2, and then the uncle is going to see Armor.
So I think that's the one thing we can be pretty cut and dry and black and white about is the uncle.
The uncle.
The uncle's going to see Armor.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that there's any sort of exclusionary problem there to say that is a fact.
There's no aunt in this situation. It's just the uncle.
No, the aunt is long gone.
The aunt is long gone.
Well,
she's out of the picture. It's the uncle's been on his own for a while now. And let's be honest, that family of 4, they didn't know that the uncle was tagging along. They were surprised to see him when they were getting into the station wagon in the driveway. They did not.
He was sleeping in the trunk.
Yeah. And he was a surprise. He's going to see Armor, guaranteed.
And if there is an aunt, I mean, there's another release we haven't even mentioned.
Oh my God, what do you have for us? What is this aunt going to see?
She may be going to see Bonhoeffer. Are you hip to this? The new Angel Studios release.
Angel Studios. So that is actually a wide release. Armor. Well, it's amazing how much we've said Armor here on GLICKED Weekend. Armor's Lionsgate. And it's a limited release.
I was going to joke that it was Lionsgate, but it actually is Lionsgate.
It is Lionsgate. Lionsgate cannot let this weekend get by without them sneaking a bomb
or something.
Yeah, they might be. Yeah,
it's the stink bomb in the toilet at the prom.
Yeah. Lionsgate almost exists to prank other studios at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bonhoeffer is a Angel Studios movie. I mean, let's be honest. I don't even think the church bus crowds are going to see a movie like that this weekend. I do think that even the church buses, they're going to look, oh, ancient Rome, that was religious, so let's go see Gladiator. And they'll look, oh, Wicked, it's like a big choir, let's go see Wicked. I don't think there's anything that's going to do business this weekend besides GLICKED.
Well, also, Pat, I mean, if it's a church bus situation, they have the best Christmas pageant. That's still
Yes.
going strong.
That's still going
They
too.
strong.
also have Conclave.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many options. I mean, listen, wake me up when you got another scam, Angel Studios. You're boring me. You're boring me.
You're boring them.
Well,
You're boring them.
there's no ticket counter on this one, but they do have something on their website. I did a little research.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
you can sign a commitment to reject all forms of racism and anti-Semitism.
Okay.
And I mean,
Okay.
I'm pro that.
Sure. But you know what? That is not a ticket sold.
It's not a ticket sold.
Whatever moral value that you get from signing that, it ain't Sound of Freedom where you're buying a ticket. So Angel Studios, this seems like one of their weaker scams. Whatever this petition is, it does feel like one of their weaker scams for sure. So guys, we're gonna get into our predictions just very quickly. Because it would only be relevant now. I did just want to quickly go through a couple of emails that we got. People saying, some of these are people went to the show. So I do want to get to these really quickly. We got, of course, let's see. Let's go to Sean, of course. Sean says, subject, great show, meet your heroes. It was great meeting you both. I got a hearty handshake followed by an appreciative shoulder squeeze from Pat. Moments later, a hug from Clayton. It brought me back to the time I met Paul Orndorff after a WWF house show in 1985, victory over the Junkyard Dog. When Clayton's babysitter showed and he was backed in a corner, I bought him a beer. I haven't bought an alcoholic beverage in 20 months. Felt like this is my opportunity to remove the wannabe before BO. What a day. Sincerely, Sean, alcoholic diabetic. Grateful fan. So, I mean, we talked about it. Clayton, so great to have met Sean this weekend.
So great. Such an affable guy. Came in such a clutch situation to hand me a beer at the right time. The guy, as an alcoholic, he knows when a beer is appropriate.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? That would be that should be the 13th step in those 12-step programs. 13th step, go give someone else a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Go give someone else a beer. So I think we should talk to the people who run that organization, propose this 13th step. We got an email from Matt in Maine. He says, hi, Pat and Clayton. Just want to say congrats on a great live show in Boston. I also brought my wife, who had never listened to the show before. She's now officially a wannabe old girl. Hope you guys can make it back to Boston again soon. Matt in Maine. Great, Matt in Maine. Thank you so much for coming. Of course, Matt in Maine, he was one of the stars of our cold open video as well. So really glad that he could make it. Clayton, just want to get this email here from wannabe oh boy Jason. He has a correction for us. He says, subject is Karen Gillan erasure. Gents, you know I love the show, but on your Red One episode, you did something that made me as a dad lower my newspaper and shake my head disapprovingly. As you were discussing the leads of the Jumanji sequels, you mentioned 3 actors, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Dwayne Johnson. I get it. They're on the tip of your brains because they've been up to shenanigans this year. You've talked a lot about them. But there were 4 stars in that movie, and I fear that focusing so often on the negative has made you subconsciously forget the good. Can you take a moment and recognize not only Karen Gillan, but all the blockbuster movie stars who come in, do their job, and then quietly get off stage and back to work? Hollywood runs on professionals like them, and I personally love and appreciate them for what they do. I know in my heart of hearts that you guys feel the same way. Stay warm this weekend. Wanna be, oh boy, Jason. So, I mean,
Okay, not to extend.
You
You're ripping through these emails, and I like this pace, but I have to take umbrage. And I love Jason. We love Jason, right? We all love Jason. Can I hear it down there in the bottom? Can we hear it? I love Jason.
Oh, yes. Love Jason, fellow dad. I'm sure he's seen Gladiator.
Thank you. I love this. Karen Gillan is not a star in any shape or form. I'm sorry, she's not. She's been in big movies, but she ain't a star. I mean, talk about Kevin Hart, talk about The Rock, talk about Jack Black. Those are stars. Karen Gillan is not a star. Is she a value add? Possibly, but she is not by any means a star.
Value add. I mean, we got to give her that.
I think she's a value add. I think.
Well, yeah, but we're talking value add. We're not talking star. Yeah. She's not a star.
But you know what?
Did
she's
not mention her. She's professional.
I think Jason's making the point. She's professional. Karen Gillan is not showing up 8 hours late and then peeing in a Voss water bottle. So you got to give her that. She is not doing that. She's not firing her longtime creative partner, although that's also something you could do, and I have no problems with that, but she's not doing that.
She's not at the freak-off parties that we know of.
She's not at the freak. So I think we'll just give it to Karen Gillan for being a value add and a steady hand and a professional who shows up on time.
I can do that, but I just don't think she's a star. If that was what Jason, love you. Email if I'm confusing your points. If I'm confusing what you're trying to say, because I do agree with your main point, which is that we need to respect people who come do their job, don't piss where they shouldn't be pissing, because that's all three of them have probably pissed where they're not supposed to piss. I'm sure Jack Black. I mean, Jack Black pissed all over KG's bank account. Yeah, his career and his bank account. Kevin Hart, who knows what he pissed on at the freak off party, and we know what The Rock does. He pisses in Voss water bottles. Never forget. So yes, I mean if that is your point that she's not pissing where she shouldn't piss, then I agree with it.
Yeah. We did get a second email from Jason because he then listened to the live show from Boston, which is on the podcast feed. And then he emailed us this. Happier email. What a twist. Guys, I was laughing and cheering so much at the ending of the live show episode. I almost crashed the car. Amazing ending. As you say, nailed it. Wannabe oh boy, Jason. Of course, Clayton, that was in reference to, I mean, do we spoil it for those who haven't listened to the live show? Huge special appearance at that live show in Boston, our big finale.
Don't ruin it. Make them listen.
Get
the numbers up.
Listen to it. I mean, my God, what a giant twist for the end of the B.O. Boys live show in Boston. What a shocking special appearance we had, and almost caused Jason to run his car off the road, which that is not what I had in mind when I produced that twist for the live show in Boston. I definitely did not want listeners to wrap their cars around lampposts. So glad.
I mean, it's great radio when someone drives off the road, though. That's how you know.
That is true. I'm sure Howard Stern, back in his prime, caused a lot of car accidents. I'm sure to this day, Kirk Minahan is causing at least 2-3 car accidents a year with the Kirk Minahan show. So you do want to have it on occasion.
Do you have the Austin email up?
The Austin G email?
Austin C.
Red one in Boston. Is that the one that you wanted to?
No, live show Boston. Sure. Here, I got it. It was just
go for it.
It was just taking a long time loading because everything is fucked tonight on my end.
Wow.
But anyway,
good. We all know that.
Yeah. So, what a show. This is from Austin C. What a show. We loved it. It was so awesome to see you guys in action live. And of course, the great Kirk Minahan. We were so excited for a chance to meet you guys, and being able to grab some drinks after the show was unreal and such a highlight. You guys are seriously the best. Love being able to talk movies after the show. They saw Juror number 2 after our show. This is how big of movie fans these gentlemen are.
Yes.
Austin C. and his crew from Pittsburgh, who brought me Smiley cookies from Eaton Park. I'll be forever be grateful. Juror number 2 was the definition of a 7 out of 10 movie, possibly the greatest piece of art ever made by a 94-year-old. That is possible. Can't think of anything else that would come close, but I also didn't think very hard. Thanks for everything. Sending love and strongholds from Pittsburgh. Austin. I mean, again, we hung out with Austin and his crew, his Pittsburgh crew, greatest kids. I can't speak enough about them, and we're friends now. I mean, we're officially friends. So
well, and he does actually sign this. The very last line, he says, "Now that we've met, and to distinguish myself from wannabe legend other Austin, I'll sign off with what my friends call me, AJ." So I love it.
AJ.
I love the name change. I love, halfway through knowing someone, they change their name. And so he is officially AJ. We're going with AJ. That way we have now separated him from past guest wannabe oh boy, Austin G, who could just go back to being just Austin. And now Pittsburgh Austin is AJ. So there you go.
That's a classy move.
Yes.
I mean, AJ is class act.
Yes. You gotta bequeathing your own name to someone else. Wow. Classy. Very classy. So yeah, those are we got some more emails. We'll go through those next week, but guys, let's get into it with our predictions, our top 5 predictions with our numbers for Gladiator and Wicked's opening weekend. So Micah, you as the guest, you get the choice. Do you want to go first, second, or third with your predictions?
I'm nervous about the numbers. I got my top 5.
Okay.
Can I go first with my order and come back to me for numbers to kind of jump off of you?
Okay, interesting. Go for it. Never been done. Never been done.
Too much, but okay.
No.
And I am gonna have to ask for permission here in a moment for something else here. So, number 1 with a bullet, Wicked.
Okay, great.
Number 2 with a sword, got to be Gladiator 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't even want to say the name. I don't think it deserves the respect. And as you guys said, we will not let him hide behind this. Red One will be dropping down to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then number 4, we got Venom: The Last Dance. And then now I would like to. I know my show. I mean, I listen every week. Do I have permission to get nuts?
Please.
Well, yeah,
please.
Let's get nuts. Let's get
nuts.
Because here's the thing. Earlier this year, there was the classic Civil War debacle. And I emailed in and I said, could there be something wild about this? Because my mom, who goes to the movies like twice a year, wants to see Civil War. And we went and saw that movie together, which was a strange experience. And we actually both enjoyed it very much. And it was a very fun experience with my mother, but I was kind of scared during it because it's not a very mother-son movie. But there's a movie that comes out this weekend, and she said, I want to see this movie months ago. And so I'm going number 5, Bonhoeffer.
Wow.
I am doing it. And I may look so silly, but the fact that she wants to see the movie, I mean, he's basically a modern day saint. And I looked up Cabrini opening at 7.1. I don't think it's going to get that high, but I think it's got a shot at the top 5. I know.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that is getting nuts, and I love it. And I'm so glad you got nuts. Clayton, do you want to get nuts and go second, or do you want to go last?
I'll go second.
All right, get nuts.
I mean, Wicked slam doink of all slam doinks. And I'm gonna go 179.
Wow. Okay.
179.
Love it.
I'm feeling that number.
Love it.
Number 2, I think, is going to be Gladiator 2. And I'm going to go I'm going to go 59. I'm going to go 59 on that one. Number 3, Red One. And if you are, only listening to this podcast and you're not watching the video, my video screen, my whole thing, my video is being shot by the cinematographer of Red One. You can see it's dark, it's murky. You can hardly tell what's happening.
Yeah.
That is what that movie is all about, and that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Frankly,
And
you look like shit.
yeah, and so did Red One. And I think
Yeah.
this thing's going to drop like a stone, but it can't drop low enough to reach the lows of Venom, which is going to be number 4.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5, you know, I think I'm going to go Best Christmas Pageant.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I love it. So I will go now. Number 1, Wicked. And I am going to go 162. Maybe that
All
number
right.
sounds familiar. I'm going Wicked 162. Number 2, Gladiator 2. I think it makes $82 million. I think Denzel and the IP, $82 million for Gladiator. Number 3, I am going Red One, $11 million. This thing's going to sink. This is going to sink. $11 million. Number 4, the best Christmas pageant ever will be number 4. It's going to pick up some steam despite the noxious presence Peter Holmes in this movie. I think that people are really going to be getting into the Christmas mood this weekend, people. And number 5, I think is going to be Heretic. I think Heretic. So
Wow.
I don't know why. I'm just feeling it.
Different vibes.
That different vibes. Yeah. So
Wow.
did you want to go back, Micah, now that you've seen some numbers from me and Clayton?
Yeah.
What are your Wicked and Gladiator numbers?
I'm a little scared because the numbers are not. I learned from you guys. So that's why I had to go last. Let's go with 175 for Wicked.
Wow.
Let's go nice and big for Gladiator, 67.
Love it.
Red One. I'd love to see it do less than this, but let's go 12.
Yeah.
Also very low, but Venom dropping down to 5, and then Bonhoeffer with 4, baby.
I love it. So we're all, listen, here's the thing. I don't think any of us, Clayton 57 was the lowest of the Gladiator 2 numbers.
59.
59. Still very solid. I think the takeaways, we are very bullish on this weekend. This is going to be a party. This is going to be a party at the theater. Everyone go be a part of it. Very, very exciting.
This is officially a party.
So, and you know what? You know what's great to have at a party? Party music.
Music.
What is again, Micah, some music that you suggest that our listeners pick up?
Well, I suggest that they go to any of their favorite streaming services and type in my name and see my most recent release called Go Fire Yourself and listen to it.
Wow.
And if they love it, that they go to my website, micahmccaw.bandcamp.com, and they buy the concert film and watch it.
You know what? Guess what? They're not going to have to type that in. Link in the show notes. You earned link in the show notes. Not everyone gets link in the show notes, but there will be a link in the show notes.
Heck yeah.
To stream your album and to get the concert film. So very exciting. Of course, email us, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. We love your boots on the ground reporting. And so send us an email there. Of course, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, very important. New 5-star reviews. Let's get those new 5-star reviews up there. A nice little GLICKED present for your BO boys. Give us a 5-star review. Of course, we are YouTubers. Hey, guys. So subscribe to the BO Boys YouTube channel. Of course, follow us on social media at the BO Boys Pod. Wanna BO VP of Interns Christopher, killing it with the vertical videos on Instagram and on TikTok, phasing out the Twitter X, but you know what? It's Instagram is the place to be. So join us there. Subscribe if you haven't already at the BO Boys Pod. And Substack's starting up soon. The tour is over. So now we pick up the pen and we start writing the Substack articles. Very exciting there. So if you haven't, subscribed to the Bo Boy Substack. Holiday articles on the way. And my God, I think that's it, guys. I think we've done it.
I mean, Pat, you've said it all.
Yes.
Maybe too much.
Maybe.
There's nothing left to say.
No, I gotta get out of here.
Except for, until next time. We'll smell you at the box office. Nailed it.